Well, firstly, I'd mention it as a player. As an ex-player, I know that this moment is really exciting because you get to find out, who you're going to be coming up against, who you're going to be playing, who you have to prepare yourself for. It's also so exciting for the fans as well because they all of a sudden get excited and know, we're almost there. And one thing I know is Qatar is ready for this draw and they're ready for this World Cup. So it's an exciting week. I think it's a massive moment. It's a massive step forward because, we've always talked about the World Cup being for everyone, and this is exactly what it's about. I think the fact that this is the first major sporting event in the Muslim world and the region, this is a huge moment. I wish I wasn't a former player. I wish I was actually playing because this is one of the first World Cups for me that I've seen that is so compact. The furthest a player is going to have to, the furthest a team is going to have to travel is 45 minutes on a bus. The World Cups that I've played in, you've either had to fly and then you fly back, that evening really late, and it takes 2 or 3 days to actually recover from that game and the travel time. So this, for an athlete, for a player, is the perfect setup because it's so compact that players are going to have, no time to, worry about, recovering. I know that going into any tournament, you're coming off a grueling season in the Premiership. The Premiership is one of the toughest leagues in the world. And we always went into these tournaments not perfect. It's not an excuse, it's just fact. You come off that season and it's tough to recover in a couple of weeks to then go into one of the biggest sporting events in the world for any player. So this is perfectly set up for the players. I'm excited for the players because I know that they're going to be mid-season. They're all going to be healthy, hopefully. They're all going to be fit. None of them are going to be tired, so it's the perfect setup for them. Always high. Every time that we go into a game, friendly, World Cup match, expectations are always high. We've always had high expectations of our team and our country going into a tournament. Our fans have high expectations of the team, and rightly so. I feel that Gareth's done an incredible job. We've got a team now that has been together for quite a few years. You can't really call them a young team anymore, but they are pretty young, but they've got some experience in there with Harry. So I really believe this is a real opportunity for us. We've come into the tournament on really good form. We just have to keep that up, and I think we'll be good. I would have to say, Harry Kane is going to be important in many aspects. I think that obviously he's a leader, he's our captain, and he's our goal scorer. So I think that with him in the team, with him performing at the highest level, he's a massive importance to our team. Breakthrough, we'll see. I think World Cups are always interesting like that. They're always exciting because a World Cup always brings excitement, but it always brings new blood into the game. I think there's always surprises. There's always a young player that breaks through. I'm not going to mention a young player because I think it puts a certain amount of pressure on them. But I think World Cups always do that. I mean, you can never not talk about, Brazil, Argentina, all of these great nations that perform in World Cups and have won quite a few World Cups. The French team, the Dutch team. When you talk about World Cups, you automatically start talking about Argentina, Brazil, France. I think one of the countries that I'm quite excited to see play, and I think could be a surprise in this World Cup, is Denmark. I think on the lead up to this, they've done pretty well and they've had a good run, and they always do pretty well in major tournaments. So I think Denmark's going to be the surprise of the tournament, or one of the surprises of the tournament. I think one of the countries and nations that I am looking forward to is the host nation. I think at the end of the day they have a young team that has been together for a long time. They know each other pretty well. I've analysed their games and seen their players, so I'm excited to see them, and I think they'll really be boosted by the atmosphere in the stadium, the fans, and I think they're going to want to have a great tournament. Enjoy it, because I know that playing in the World Cup is the pinnacle. It's the best and the highest level any player can reach. Oh, of course, I'm 46 years old and I still feel that I can put my boots on and play in the World Cup, which obviously I can't at my age, but it will always be there, no matter what. Even at my age, which is not old, but even at my age, I still feel that I could play in the Premier League or the La Liga or for England. So that would never go away, and I still feel the same every time that I walk into a stadium. I want to put my boots on. How do I assess that tournament? A lot of ups and downs. I obviously went into that tournament. I went into that tournament on really good form. So I was excited about it. It being my first World Cup. So I was excited about that. Obviously, disappointed not to start the first couple of games, but unfortunately, this happens in the game. This happens in football. Sometimes you play, sometimes you don't, but I was there for the team, and I knew that once I got my opportunity, I knew that I had to perform, and luckily I did. I scored obviously my first goal for England, my first goal in the World Cup, and against Colombia was a big moment for me, and on my mum's birthday. So that was a big moment. But that tournament, it went from not starting great to a lot better, and then obviously it ended with the red card. So it didn't end that well, but I still have a lot of fond memories from that tournament, because as a player on the lead up to a tournament, you get excited, and then once you're there, you enjoy the atmosphere, you enjoy everything about a World Cup, because like I said, it could have been my last, so I wanted to enjoy it, but I have good memories from that World Cup. Obviously on the lead up to that World Cup, it wasn't perfect for me, other than obviously scoring the Greece goal. That was a big moment. But then obviously getting the injury and having to really kind of do everything possible to be fit for the World Cup, that was a tough lead up, but it was one that I enjoyed because it was a challenge. And then obviously once I was there, it was 4 years on from what had happened, against Argentina and getting the red cards. So the fact that we were playing Argentina, the fact that obviously I had a moment where I could, score a goal to win the game, it was a big moment. So I look back at that World Cup and I think that was, for me personally, the moment that kind of wiped away all of, the stuff that had happened in the 4 years before that. And I think that was also the moment the fans kind of forgave me in a way. So it was a big moment for me. Memories of the hype that was around the team and our country at that time, because we had obviously a great team, we had great individuals, and everyone was talking about how well we were going to do and how far we were going to go in the World Cup, which is sometimes a good thing, but also sometimes not a great thing. So expectations were really high on us, and obviously people named us the golden generation, but unfortunately we didn't live up to the hype that surrounded us as a team. So that was a disappointing tournament, but I always feel that every tournament that you don't win is a disappointing tournament. You know, as far as you can go, you know, by winning and lifting the trophy. Me personally, I went into every tournament believing that we were going to lift the trophy and that we were going to win, you know, a major tournament. But, you know, when you don't make that happen, when it doesn't happen, then it's always disappointing. No, I always thought, you know, 98, I felt that we had a good chance as well. You know, obviously we were good, doing pretty well in the tournament and playing pretty well. So I felt personally that we had a good chance in '98. But you know, we talk about Germany, and that was an opportunity. Brian Robson was my hero. You know, he was the player that when my dad used to sit me down in front of the TV and we were watching Manchester United games and England games, he was the one player that he said, okay, if you want to be a good player, then watch the number 7, watch Brian Robson. And that's all I used to do. You know, anyone else on the pitch, I wasn't interested in. I was watching Brian Robson. I wanted to emulate everything that he did in his career. I wanted to wear the number 7 for Man United. I wanted to wear the number 7 for England and captain England. And luckily, I got to train with him. I got to play with him. And obviously, I wore the number 7 for England and Man United and also captain England. So, you know, I was able to do everything that my hero did. I met him, you know, when I was probably. My dad used to take me up to Manchester all the time. So I think I met him for the first time when I was 10 or 11 years old. And I mean, it's Brian Robson, it was my hero. You know, it's like my dad. My dad's hero is Sir Bobby Charlton. So, you know, I think when you meet your heroes, you're, you know, starstruck. It was a moment for me. I mean, they're going to have a great experience. You know, speaking now as a fan and not a player, you know, I'm going to be arriving in Qatar as a fan and excited for the tournament. And I think past tournaments, you know, fans have really had to travel. They've had to obviously spend a lot of money on the travel, whereas here in Qatar, you know, they're going to experience something where they can actually go to more than one game in a day because it's such a compact tournament, you know. But I will say that the food culture, you know, everything about, you know, what Qatar has to offer. I think fans are going to really enjoy that. They're going to experience great food. They're going to be welcomed with open arms, and they're going to be able to watch more than one game in a day.